The views expressed in this interview are those of the individuals and do not reflect the official policy or position of the U.S. government, the Department of Defense, the U.S. Navy, or the Naval Postgraduate School. Welcome to the Trident Room, brewer of stout conversation, unfiltered and on tap. On today's episode, Trident Room host Michael Gannon sits down with Dr. Mikhail Auguston.
I want to say thank you for joining us today. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for being so supportive on a random student from a different department just asking random questions.
Being a researcher, one of the necessary features also is not to be afraid.
Yeah. No, you got it. You know.
Okay, now I will say something about it.
Yeah.
And hold tight. Yeah, are you ready?
All right.
Okay, so if we are talking about behavior and modeling behaviors,
All right.
what is politics?
Behaviors.
Okay, so we can make politics precise science. But essentially it is, right?
Yeah. I mean,
What is politics? It's
Yeah.
try to figure out certain behavior pattern.
Yeah.
There are different views, different approaches. Some of them may be better, some worse.
Yeah.
But if you can build a precise model and reason about this precisely, scientifically, what will happen? Well, in Soviet Union, I can tell you what will happen. Yeah, it was called such concept as Gulag. Yeah, for people who tried to invent something in this direction. What will happen in this country? I'm not sure. If you try to build precise science for politics,
Yeah.
is it possible?
What I think we can do. I think we could do something on policy. On like if we are going to enact a policy, first, second, third effects, like instead of
What's
just
policy? It's all behaviors, right?
Yeah.
It's, well, not just single behaviors,
but like
family of behaviors. Yeah, because we'd like to provide different variations of.
Yeah.
But it's description of some kind of behaviors. MP provides you with language, how to tell it and how to describe properties and make good questions and answers about politics.
I don't know.
Yeah, you can imagine what may happen if you start to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't know if America's ready for good questions and good answers.
Yeah, but make politics precise science. You can put it in my interview if you wish. I'm not afraid. So, yeah, one of suggestions is to use precise behavior modeling for one particular domain called politics, which is behavior. Society also has behavior system. We talk just as systems, right? And the essence of system is behavior. Society is a system. It has behaviors, and we can try to formalize them and reason about them and predict them and do a lot of things, ask questions.
Yeah.
Why not? Much better. We are still trying to do it informally, but informal is informal, right? It's just talking. But if you have precise and formal, which you can run on computers, you can check, you can verify, it's much more you can do.
Yeah, and with cloud computing, we've got the
If you
computational power to
Of course.
Yeah,
Modeling biological system isn't trivial, but still we are trying, right?
Yeah.
And we have some models of biological systems which are not complete, not perfect, but still certain things can be done. The same about society. Nobody tells that immediately we'll build complete and full.
Yeah.
We'll build partial, incomplete, but still we have to try.
Yeah, so you got to start
We'll
somewhere.
understand better, yeah. It's behavior, it's system with behavior. And then we'll be able to predict and distinguish and so on and so on and so on.
Maybe make better decisions.
Yes, because behavior means not only events, but also properties of events like cost, timing, probabilities, and so on and so on. It's all an MP, by the way, if you have seen.
Yeah.
Event attributes like timing, cost, probabilities, you can evaluate and estimate. When you have model of behavior, you can estimate costs, timing, and so on.
And I mean, it'd be great for business students is to do a model of cost-benefit analysis if we
There
do.
is a concept of business process.
Yeah. You know?
Pure MP, 100%.
Yeah. And it's
all the entry, but difference is the business process now are semi-formal with natural language, but for MP, if you're precise formal, can be run on computers, analyzed, and much more, right?
Yeah.
It's like wheel. With wheel, you can
do lots of
travel a little
things.
bit better, right?
Yeah.
Still cannot solve all problems, but it's better to have will than without it.
All right.
Yes,
Or
but really, making politics a precise science, why not? Be brave. Try. If you don't try, of course nothing will come. But try it. See.
what's the worst that can happen? I like it. I'll use this podcast as an example. So event A is I stumble on to Monterey Phoenix on the MPS website. I reach out to you because I'm working on some sort of thesis, and I ask, can this help me model this? You respond, and now we go through the chain of events, the interactions. Then I eventually ask, hey, would you like to do a podcast and talk about it? And now you have a choice, and we have two possible outcomes. You could say yes, or you could say no. If you say yes, then it's okay. When do you want to do it? And then multiple. Now we have far more. Can we model the if I described it correctly? Can we model the entirety of any possible outcome of that scenario?
I guess you brought yet another very important concept here. Well, it is not just enough to build a model of behavior. With MP, we can do more. We can describe the whole patterns of behavior, the whole families of behavior. So when you mention alternative means what? Well, actually you were talking about similar behaviors, but they have some alternatives, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can do this or this, but rest will be similar in some sense. We can describe the whole patterns of behavior using MP. And this is also element of novelty here. Before, didn't exist appropriate formalism. UML may be one of the most famous and in some sense or popular, right? UML diagrams and so, but they're not sufficient. And nobody uses them actually for real big stuff. MP, in some surprising way, simpler and more powerful. That's it. It is the same like, the people invented a lot of devices for moving objects. Mm-hmm. But the wheel appears to be the most general and simple and most practical. So look at this from this point of view. MP is like a wheel. It is simple, but it helps a lot. It helps you to build a lot of different devices for moving things, for transportation and so on. So this is it. MP is like a wheel. Simple but powerful and useful. So yes, families of behaviors, patterns of behaviors, typical behaviors for typical domains and so on. Now we can describe typical behavior for, military, for example. What is typical surgical operation also? Mm-hmm. Of course, maybe very different in details depending what surgery you're doing, but a lot of surgeries have a lot in common also. They have patterns.
Yeah. And pre-op, we need to check this.
Yes, and a particular ordering of events, mm-hmm. You prepare, you do, and so on. You see, this is what I call patterns of behavior, and they're useful because we learn, we accumulate knowledge this way, we teach how to do right things, and MP provides you formalism, language, how to describe patterns of behavior. Which itself, I guess, is useful, right? Because what is alternative? Just natural language? Yeah. Yes, but natural language is a little bit fuzzy. MP is precise and supported by tools. Yet another moment comes here. There are tools which can be run on computer, and then you can ask and answer good questions using tools, which is much better method to do it just looking and thinking.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Automation is possible.
I read on the website, it doesn't matter if we understand the system or not. Everything has an architecture, regardless if it's known or unknown. If I understand the history, this was originally to test and design software development to make sure we were testing processes.
Exactly.
So does it help? So if we're modeling out a system, or if we're modeling out a process, or maybe like a military policy, or the effect of if we do this or that, because we describe things in natural language, we talk through the narrative of it, and then when you try to map it, reality doesn't always occur in that way? Like,
Oh, well, of course, models, we can build good models and not so good models, and
Yeah.
sometimes something is missing, right? Well,
Yeah.
but you always can improve your model, and nothing is ideal, nothing is perfect. As we know, doesn't exist universal model of everything, right? So
Yeah.
you always have, for different purposes, you can adjust and change and so on. But what is important, right? So first of all, you can describe families of behaviors. MP model essentially describes the whole set, maybe infinite set of possible scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
By itself is interesting and useful. But besides of this, you can describe not only behavior per se, what happens, what kind of events happens in what order, but you can also describe properties of behaviors. And then you can verify those properties using MP tools, which is new. And now you mentioned already, yes, so MP actually has been invented originally 30 years ago about, I guess, the first publication was in early 90s, even in 1991 or something like this. It was behavior of software, the first beginnings of all. Because what is software? It is also compact description of behavior of computer. No more and no less, right? What is a software program? Describes particular activities, right? Statement execution, expression evaluation, whatever else, right? But those are behaviors. And program, which is finite object, may describe infinite number of possible behaviors, but they have something in common, the structure. If you have loop, for example, then the difference will be number of iterations, but a lot in common. But you first check condition, perform loop body, again check condition, and then repeat, and so on. Behaviors. So MP came as a formalism to describe behavior of software in order to be able to reason about it, verify, for example, and so on. And then after certain experience have been accumulated, started to understand that it goes much, much further than just description of program behavior. You mentioned architecture. What is architecture actually? Essentially, structure of the system, but keeping in mind, system essentially is behavior. This means architecture is also in some sense captures behavior, but traditional architecture descriptions are not good for this. Yeah, certain things you can tell looking at architecture. Nesting, for example, right? If one part of system is inside another, this means behavior also will be nested. And so on, right? But not too much, right? Parallelism, yes, but sequences, yes, but so traditional architecture didn't pay attention to behavior in particular. MP focuses on what is essential. Behavior is the king. So the language and all these concepts are focused on behavior, and this is good because it's essentially what we want. So architecture, from MP point of view, this is high-level description of behavior of system. And then comes, well, infinite, right? Because all kinds of systems, and all of them have behavior. You cannot imagine a system without behavior. Senseless. All kinds of systems, all kinds of behaviors. And it's amazing that only those basic concepts, sequence, event, sequence, nesting, are sufficient. Well, yeah, one more thing that comes with MP, which was missing in some sense, event coordination. This is event coordination, coordinate.
Okay.
When you tell, yeah, you have sequence of send events, you have sequence of receive events. Just sequence. But now you introduce coordination. First send coordinates to the first receive. Second send, second receive. See?
Yeah.
Put them in pairs. Coordination. This appears to also be a very fundamental issue. And it was missing in previous. Well, somehow people didn't pay attention that it's important concept in behavior modeling, coordination. That you somehow bring together sets of events and show relationship between them. And MP provides quite powerful language to describe different kinds of coordination, including precedence and sharing events, and they're very flexible formalism to describe all kinds of event coordination. Again, nobody did it before, and so far I see that MP is powerful enough and expressive enough to capture all possible coordination of events. I have not seen example yet that cannot be done.
Okay. syntax aside, everything else, the end product, I looking at the graphic user interface, block chart comes out, I can move and, visual. I think the easiest part is it visualizes what we try to write out in a narrative. Like if I was to describe a process.
Okay, well, visualization is a concept by itself, but again, why? Why we are so excited or interested in visualization? What do you think? Well, first of all, human eyes is a very powerful organ, right?
Yeah.
Compared with all the rest, probably eyes bring much more information.
Yeah,
for
easily.
obvious reasons, because when you look at something, flow of bits of information is much bigger, right? Neither listening or touching or whatever else, right? Or something.
Yeah.
Visualization is very powerful, and this is why we like visualization, so that we can use eyes to enter this information. It isn't MP only. Visualization is well known in software development. There are visual programming languages, a lot of different kinds of diagrams. So what is diagrams? All kinds, right? It's foundation of each diagram is, of course, text. All of them based on some textual form. And then you visualize the text, and you can visualize it many different ways, the same text. So that make it more appealing for your eyes. The same text may be visualized in many different ways. You can visualize just using appropriate blocks and arrows, for example. It's one kind. You can use it visualizing using colors, three-dimensional, so on and so on, right? There are many ways how you can feed or increase information flow that we can consume using eyes. No more and no less. MP is not exception. Of course, there are a lot of visualization ways how you can visualize MP models. If you look at MP manual, you'll see there are all kinds of diagrams, and no limit to this. It's by no way it is complete list. Yeah, you can always come up with a new visualization, depending on what you would like to extract and what you would like to focus on and so on. But visualization is just typical human way how to consume information. No more and no less. Well, a long time ago, I played with visualization. I even invented visual programming language called V. It's somewhere on my website. It just, experiment, to play a little bit with this. So visualization is important, but it is just yet another way how to organize flow of information. So this is why two-dimensional displays, of course, provide much more opportunities than all displays which was plain text, right? But there were times when displays were only textual, right? Well, we managed to work with them.
To work with it.
Yeah, and now I guess even possible now that you move your hand in three-dimensional, there are sensors that will catch what you're doing with your fingers, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and eventually we could have three-dimensional outputs of Monterey Phoenix to make a hologram, so to speak.
Why not? Yeah, so you'll feel yourself embedded somehow in this model.
Yeah, and then, interact with it, shape it, move things around.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
It all depends if you can come up with appropriate notation for this. People will use it,
Yeah. Now, there's three ways of getting to Monterey Phoenix if you wanted to use it. There's the cloud, that's for through the NPS.
Monterey Phoenix so-called. Yeah, this Firebird.
Yep.
It is free software.
Yeah, and then there's display. A Linux Griffin is the version
so you can install on your own computer.
Yeah, and that's a Linux, Unix, Mac setup. And then what the third option's for larger systems, if I understand it right.
Yeah, but it should be as well. You can either use online version, run it, right?
Yep.
Or if for some reason you don't want to share your models, then you install your own and run your own version. There are two opportunities.
Yeah.
Use publicly availed Phoenix or your own.
Okay.
And a lot of institutions in Department of Defense, National Security Association, for example, using Monterey Phoenix broadly now. They installed, of course, their own version.
Yeah, their web their web presence not the same web presence as ours, so to speak.
I don't even know how they do it, but I know that they installed it.
Yeah.
I received some emails from them, and so they are using it for real modeling.
Yeah, which, if we talk through the concept of coin operations in military, I mean, it's all about relationships, and it's all about the how we understand the interrelationship between, the local civilian population, the government,
behavior.
It's those behaviors. What do we do, and what is the impact of this event
What may happen? What are possible scenarios,
areas.
And what are properties of those scenarios? Yeah. Is it possible that such and such thing happens or not? And so
and then
ask and answer good questions.
Yeah, and it helps you, model it. So we've got the secret squirrel people doing secret squirrel things with Monterey Phoenix. What else has it been used for recently? Is there any ongoing projects or
it's now lives independent life? But again, online, if you look, you'll see more than dozen of potential users who agreed to put their logos at least on the internet. Most of them are within government, of course, but there are private companies that are using it. And probably in other countries, if I look at statistics, what I have seen recently, Monterey Phoenix website has counter. It was about 500 hits in recent couple of years from different countries. Most of them United States, of course, but a lot of them come from China, for example, or even Iran. I don't know what they're doing with Phoenix, but they're using it.
They're looking at it.
Thanks for joining us in the Trident Room. For more information about today's guests and topics, please visit the show notes. The Trident Room has been brought to you by the Naval Postgraduate School, Alumni Association, and Foundation. For questions, comments, and suggestions, please email us at tridentroompodcasthost@nps.edu and find us online at nps.edu/Trident Room Podcast.